In this facility, we're putting the final touches on the public domain documentary called He Won the War in the Courtroom, Lost the Peace in the Living Room. It's a true story that borrows its storytelling from times when the bad guys outnumbered the good guys. Interesting how the husband uses history in order to fight back against the bad guys. As in many other real-life situations, the good guys lose, but just should have seen the bad guys.
I love Lucy and she loves me. We're as happy as two can be. We have our quarrels, but then...
In spite of daydreaming about the bygone sights and sounds of her and Benny, Lucille Belts typed a letter faster than she could speak thanks to her sense of clarity on the issues. In the letter, she explained why it would not be appropriate to attend the big gathering unless there was peace in the family. She explained why lack of hostility towards Uncle Benny for his abuse of family law doesn't constitute peace. She also explained why even one guest being uncomfortable was one too many. She detailed how no one being discomforted by her presence spoke to an even bigger problem. She further detailed how Uncle Benny was protected from criticism by the family, while Lucille herself was persecuted for her criticism of Benny's cruel intentions, which is a double standard that Lucille couldn't sign her name to by attending the event. In Lucille's thanks but no thanks response to the invite, she outlined how we live in a world where the aggressor sets the ground rules, and according to those rules, it is the aggressor who makes the initial steps towards peace. No telling for sure how Lucille found her voice so quickly, but perhaps her having watched today's true story explains it all. Knocking over that last domino looks like a string of good decisions that pointed you in the right direction. On the other hand, choosing what you think is right only because it's legal often looks like what you are about to see.
Aliens and robots?
Yes, sir.
You're telling me that there is a movie company in Hollywood right now that is funded by the CIA?
Yes, sir.
What's wrong with the bikes again?
We tried to get the message upstairs.
You think this is more plausible than teachers?
Yes, we do.
And we think everybody knows Hollywood people. And everybody knows they'd shoot in Stalingrad with Pol Pot directing if it would sell tickets. There are only bad options. It's about finding the best one.
And today's documentary?
This is the best bad idea we have, sir. By far.
The People for the Ethical Treatment of Unethical Bureaucrats would like to acknowledge the architects of community property laws for making the creation of this video an absolute necessity. Our true story begins at the divorce court in Norwalk, California. This is where the wife's attorney turned a friendly divorce into a hostile one, which is why this attorney won the war in the courtroom but lost the peace in the living room. With no peace in the living room, the husband modeled his strategy after the most similar situation he could think of. Something catastrophic like President Kennedy's nuclear missile crisis.
Now, in my judgment, the implications of Soviet deceit go even far beyond this damn situation.
Soviets can't lie to us, shift missiles to our front door, and then come up winners, smelling like roses. Not if we ever hope to deal with them again.
Same goes for ex-spouses, Mr. President.
The following true story isn't legal advice and shouldn't be used in place of legal advice. There was no violence, no threats were made, no laws were broken, and resorting to anything of the kind is not recommended or condoned by the creators of this video. Because, while two wrongs don't make a right, Time and time again, the second wrongs discourage the third wrongs. The following is the story of how one brave spouse... Brave? Who are we kidding? He was the husband on the way to the slaughter we know as divorce court. He drove everybody nuts with his panic. The following is the true story of how one husband collected himself and took a stand against the other side at their expense. The husband first remembered that The Odd Couple isn't just a show on your TV. The oddest couple on the planet might live right next door to you and be starting the process of a hostile divorce. A hostile divorce is every bit as unsettling to an individual as a war is to a president. Like a president with life and death decisions to make about national defense strategy, the decisions you make about your divorce strategy determines the quality of your remaining life. This husband figured out his divorce strategy by remembering the voices of presidents who, number one, reassured the nation.
Our long national nightmare is over.
Number two, stated a position.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Number three, literally save the planet from nuclear annihilation.
I have directed that the following initial steps be taken. It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
Number four, thanks to the presidents, the husband learned diplomacy.
Yesterday, a state of war has existed.
True story. Going against the presidential mindset, here's how one hostile attorney's tactics backfired on his client. Good morning. I thank Mr. Mason for the use of the lunchroom.
Yesterday,
I was served with divorce papers by Lenara's attorney.
Our long national nightmare is over.
Given the abuse, along with the landfill conditions of the home, the supportive colleagues and other friends means more than you'll ever know. Given the predatory nature of family law, I have directed that the following initial steps be taken. First, it shall be the policy of this husband that any further threats against child visitation rights will be met with the following response.
Go ahead, make my day.
Second, I have successfully blocked the forced sale of the cars by timely provision of documents. Third, to discourage abusive process, it shall be the policy of this husband to regard anything not case-related, such as humiliation by the attorney, to be an attack on yours truly by his client, requiring a full retaliatory response in kind. Fourth, any legal action to coerce fees will be greeted with a two-word response, the first word being a verb. Furthermore, any such action will be regarded as extortion, which, however profitable in the courtroom, will prove far more costly in the living room.
The cost of freedom is always high. Let no one doubt that this is a difficult and dangerous effort. No one can foresee precisely what cost it will take, or what costs or casualties will be incurred. Many months of sacrifice and self-discipline lie ahead, months in which both our patience and our will be tested, months in which many threats and denunciations will keep us aware of our dangers. But the greatest danger of all would be to do nothing. The path we have chosen for the present is full of hazards, as all paths are. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission. Our goal is not the victory of might, but the vindication of right. Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom. God willing, that goal will be achieved. Thank you, and good night.
So, what happened after the warnings were ignored? Good morning. To start things on a high note, I'd like to thank the other side's divorce attorney for breaking the voluntary agreement which saved me a lot of money. Rest assured that the money was put to good use. On a low note, the attorney played on his client's greed, inspiring children to take sides. Given the legal implications of any double standards towards a parent, I have directed the following steps be taken. Recognizing today's family dynamic.
There are only bad options. It's about finding the best one.
For updating the family will.
Therefore,
the legal team will remove Dick and Jane from the will, effective at noon today. This to ensure the overt preference for one parent will not result in the selection of a third world nursing home for the other. Today's decision is society's $18.6 million caution flag for couples who may be tempted to stray away from a friendly divorce in favor of a hostile one. Today's undeniable truth, learned the hard way, is that while it's nice to be important, it's more important to be nice. It is also being confirmed that there will absolutely be no discussion of even partially restoring Dick and Jane to the will until the attorney and client make the required refunds with interest and comply with the list of humiliating demands. I thank you for your camaraderie in a situation that the state has made so expensive and difficult. The proceeding was a true story whose ending has yet to be written. It serves as a reminder that there are three more undeniable truths. First, the aggressor always sets the ground rules. Second, never willfully make an enemy. You never know when you're going to need him for a friend. Third, aside from the attorneys, there are no winners in a hostile divorce. There is only the side that loses the least. As for the disclaimers, while in reality there were no actual lunchroom speeches, the imaginary speeches you saw spotlighted the mindset that reduced the husband's financial losses and gave the other side a taste of their own medicine. While there was no multi-million-dollar caution flag, the client's adult children have, so far, lost $250 in the living room for every dollar coerced by the attorney in the courtroom.
Go ahead. Make my day.
This famous Clint Eastwood line was never said in response to the first threat against child visitation. Something else very similar and equally humiliating was said. That resulted in the prevention of the second threat and every future threat that would have been made. Finally, randomly selected names and images were used to protect the identities of the odd couple next door, almost through the entire presentation.
And now you know the rest of the story.